Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
At Amazon, we're pretty good at getting things done. We're pretty good at solving problems. COVID-19 is the biggest challenge we've had to face. But challenges are what motivate us. Like flying masks to our employees around the world. We're doing everything we can to get you what you need, and doing everything we can to keep our people safe. I'm former Navy pilot Sarah Rhodes, and I'm proud to lead our Amazon Air network.
What is happening today, everybody, on Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner on 12-Ounce Sports? Happy Thursday, everyone, on the January 7th, and another fast week. We are heading in approaching Wildcard Weekend, and I'd like to thank all of you for joining today's show. I'll be commercial-free for the next 57-odd minutes or so. Use 12-Ounce Sports, all catch deposit bonus up to $1,000 for MyBookie. This is the 134th show I'm doing today. And I forgot to say on Monday because I was all hyped up. Happy New Year to all you out there. Let me get started without further ado. Here comes the gavel and the judge has spoken. All right. Joe Judge, the head coach of the New York Giants, obviously expressed his frustration with obviously Doug Peterson benching Jalen Hurts, playing Nate Sudfeld basically giving a game away when the football team. Said in the presser, as long as I'm the head coach of the New York Giants, we will never do that. Okay. So let's take context here. What else he also said? He means that he's going to play all the games, even play everyone, even if it means nothing, to the point of playoffs or no playoffs. But what's going to happen what's going to happen when he has the number one seed locked up? That's a question. Obviously, you're probably not going to play a guy like Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley, who they're committed to, and I'll get to that later. But what also Joe Judge said, which no one wants to talk about, everyone wants to point to the, they're blaming the Eagles. He also said they had opportunities to win, and they didn't. He made sure that they put the blame on themselves too, but he also made another interesting point. You had families commit to the season because of the coronavirus. You had everyone buy in. That's what the season was about. Without anyone buying into the season, there would have been no NFL season. And for the Philadelphia Eagles to pull that stunt, as I always say, it is completely disrespectful and disgraceful. That's what it comes down to. And that's what Joe Judge is trying to say. And he's the right man in the building for the New York Giants. And there's something else that he said. It also attracts free agents. And what he said. Because it's like, oh, you want to win? Let's go play for Joe Judge. Let's not play for Doug Peterson, who Miles Sanders calls out the Philadelphia Eagles running back and is like, oh, what are we doing here? Let me go play for Joe Judge. Yeah, let's, and I'm not saying that the Giants are going to be world beaters next year by any means, But obviously, Joe Judge is the right man for the job, and it actually was 1 year ago today he got hired by the New York Giants. I remember where I was. I was in the car. I was heading to New York with my mom because I remember I had to pick up my brother at the airport that day, coming back from Israel. I remember all that. And I could not believe, I'm like, they didn't hire Matt Rule. This is a mistake. What are the New York Giants doing? I'm listening to New York sports radio. I'm listening to Chris Canty and the whole 9 yards. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what did the Giants do? I remember, they're going to get Jason Garrett's the offensive coordinator. Exactly 1 year ago today, I remember that day. And boy, 100% was I wrong. I was wrong on that one with that hiring. Looks like the Giants obviously made the right hire. And there's a sense of optimism in the room, which is transitions to my next segment. Staying with the New York Giants, but a different topic. Dave Gettleman and John Mara. And I know New York Giants fans this morning are like, this is the same old John Mara. Losing 10 games a year is now accepted. We are not raising the bar high. Which I understand the frustration. But John Mara is right about one thing. The sense inside the locker room and the vibe hasn't been felt like this in years since Tom Coughlin was the coach. It wasn't like this with Ben McAdoo or Pat Shurmur. Joe Judge has something that both of them don't. He is a culture changer, but he also demands the respect and loves his players. Let me just say that. John Mara went in on team meetings more than ever before. And he was pleased. And I know you think, okay, this guy's stuck in the 60s and 70s. I understand all of that. But he senses the team's going in the right direction. I know it's the whole same old narrative. But this time the narrative is true. That the Giants are actually heading in the right direction. And I know all you guys wanted Gettleman fired, which I understood when they started 1-7. But let's take an account into this. There was no preseason. Due to the coronavirus, there are no OTAs, any of that stuff. You could basically say the Giants' 0-5 start was the preseason, although the NFL record said otherwise. The second half of the year, the Giants were 5-3. Definition, trending upward. Also, you want to know why Gettleman is staying? This is why Gettleman is staying another year. Number one, he nailed on the 2020 NFL draft class. Andrew Thomas started at left tackle. Just needed a preseason or coaching changes on the offense line to be coached better, and it was fixed overnight. Let's see. Xavier McKinney is going to be a very good safety with Jabril Peppers. Another draft pick, Matt Peart, started on the offensive line. They like him at right tackle. Shane Lemieux also played on the offensive line. Cam Brown, Carter Coughlin at linebacker saw valuable snaps. And also Darnay Holmes at corner. Played it a lot in the nickel slot as well. Another reason why Gettleman deserves to keep his job is because he signed marquee starters and traded for defensive pieces. Let's see. Blake Martinez, middle linebacker. Leonard Williams, traded for at his best year of his career. James Bradbury, IV, is one of the best corners in the league. And also signed Logan Ryan. The next piece is why Gettleman is staying is because the pieces that the New York Giants need is an off-season fix away. But let me tell you what they have first before I tell you what they don't. They committed to Daniel Jones, quarterback next year, check. They're very high on him in the organization. Saquon Barkley comes back under running back, check. Offensive line is fixed, check. They have defensive tackles checked. Marquee starters at corner and safety, check, check. Linebackers, check. What are they missing? And also Lorenzo Carr, some other guys on defense were hurt. What is the things they are missing? Wide receivers, which Barry Gettleman agree on, and so does Judge. You could get 2 receivers. You could get 1 in free agency to draft, and that's fixed in your offseason. That is entirely fixed. Second thing you could fix in one offseason, find an edge rusher that's a defensive end. Lastly, the last thing you need to figure out is get a number 2 quarterback on the other side of James Bradbury. IV. Otherwise, this team is fixed for the most part. As long as you address those 3 things, the New York Giants will probably be in the playoffs next year. That's the thing. The Giants are, this offseason, is the difference between the playoffs and the not, and you better get wide receivers. The funny thing is, the last time the Giants had the 11th pick in the NFL draft, they drafted a Heisman winner. This year, they had the 11th pick, and wide receiver Devonta Smith is a Heisman winner out of Alabama, and that's what they need. I'd be cool with this. Jamar Chase from LSU, or Jalen Waddle, Alabama, or Rashad Bateman from Minnesota. Or, now this is a wild card here, New York Giants fans would love this. You trade Evan Ingram for a 4th-round pick to another team because he's got a load of butterfingers, and I know they're high on him in the organization, which I can't understand. But that's probably because he owns up to his mistakes and actually cares about the team, unlike some other people. An interesting thing would be you use the 11th pick on tight end Kyle Pitts from Florida. You sign Allen Robinson and maybe Juju Smith-Schuster in the offseason, free agency, use that pick on a tight end. Upgrade the thing to Daniel Jones, and now I know Giants would say Curtis Samuel. Say offense coordinator Joe Brady, but Lion Giants fans are like, you know what? Jason Garrett, the offensive coordinator, general manager Dave Gettleman, doesn't understand that. Why is there so much buzz around him? Might take the Chargers job and coach up Justin Herbert. We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm done with those Giants takes. And if you are sick about it, well, too bad. I'm not going to really feel sorry for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my 2020-2021 season NHL preview. And Cody Jensen and Beck and whoever else is listening, and also the World Hockey Report, Vegas Squares, whoever else today, and Pete's show as well. I hope you all are very fond of my NHL preview I'm about to begin. Now, the divisions this year are different from Metropolitan, Central, Pacific, and Atlantic. It's just mixed up because of the coronavirus and they want to limit travel. So let me go with my Eastern Division. Number 1 seed in the Eastern Division this year. Pittsburgh Penguins, and no, I'm not being biased. Let me tell you something. Tristan Jarry has been dominant in training camp. I've heard he's been a brick wall, and he's on a mission. And I personally think they got one more Stanley Cup run in them. You got Sidney Crosby, Crosby on that team, the Harpy Hard Soul of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I'm telling you this with Crosby. They want to win one more cup or at least make one more deep playoff run. Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby, Jay Gunsel, offseason acquisition of Kasperi Kapanen. And John Moreno, you gave him a contract extension. And I'm telling you what the most important offseason acquisition is. Todd Reederin, who was the head coach for the Washington Capitals, actually did win the Stanley Cup with Barry Trotz as assistant, and that's going to help the Penguins. Why? Because he's obviously can't be any worse than Mark Recchi was as the power play coach. That's going to be a huge help for Mike Sullivan. Number 2, the Philadelphia Flyers. Carter Hart, Claude Giroux, they're on the right track and trajectory to make a deep playoff run, but maybe they lose in the first round. Who in the high seas knows? And this team is very hungry. Oscar Lindblom, a very inspirational story, is looking to make an impact for the Flyers this season. Number 3 on the agenda, the Washington Capitals. Now, Alex Ovechkin is on the final year of his contract. So if the Washington Capitals do not make the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, Don't say I didn't warn you that if the Capitals miss the playoffs, expect Ovechkin to bolt DC in the offseason and head to the New York Islanders and unite with Barry Trotz. And let's not also forget that Belmont is also on the horizon for the Islanders, which I'll get to them in a minute. But you got there loaded on the top six of Evgeny Kuznetsov, Nicholas Backstrom, Tom Wilson, Jakub Vrana, and TJ Oshie. Now, the biggest Achilles heel for Washington this season may be if Ilya Samsonov does not come through, they are in big-time trouble because there's no Henrik Lundqvist backing them up. Oh, and John Carlson is the best blue liner in the NHL. Number 4, and also Peter Lavierette's the new head coach. Number 4, the New York Islanders. Don't worry about the Matthew Barzal contract holdout, please. Barry Trotz is your head coach. Kiefer Bellows is a potential riser this year. Oliver Wahlstrom. Semyon Varlamov is going to start the year in net. But keep an eye on Ilya Sorokin, a potential starting goalie in the Islanders organization moving forward. Their defense is well structured. Noah Dobson is a name to keep an eye on for the Islanders. And Anders Lee, the captain of the New York Islanders, needs to be better this year. And Brock Nelson and Josh Baylor are going to have to come through huge. Oh, and Anthony Beauvillier is probably going to pick up from where he left off last year in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Number 5, the Boston Bruins. Ladies and gentlemen, the Boston Bruins ceiling has officially hit us. Tuukka Rask is going to be distracted all year by what happened by leaving the bubble. And if you don't think that's going to take a toll on the ice, it definitely is. Tuukka Rask is not going to have a good year. Yaroslav Halak, yeah, he's younger than I thought he was. But Yaroslav Halak, I'm sorry, he's not the answer. Dave Pasternak's probably not even coming back till mid-February. Brad Marchand's also hurt. It's Patrice Bergeron. And there's no depth on this Boston Bruins hockey team, which spells doom and doomsdale day for the Boston Bruins. And you're doomed if they don't pick up their game. But I'll tell you a team that might be doomed to start the year this year, but may pick it up as the season goes on. Number 6, the New York Rangers. This is going to hurt from the preseason. They need preseason. Alexis Lafreniere, the number 1 overall pick. And I'm telling you this. Got Artemi Panarin, Chris Kreider, Minka Zibanejad, and the defense is underrated. But David Quinn, the coach, is going to be under fire to start the year. That's why they brought in Shaka Martin. And also goalie Igor Shesterkin is going to be really good. I think he's going to be one of the better goalies in the NHL. But it's not going to transition to wins. Alexander Georgiev is going to be a reliable backup. And Henrik Lundqvist is now not with the team anymore. Had to get open heart surgery. We have prayers for him. But his career is probably over. Next up, number 7 in that division is the New Jersey Devils. They had her hope Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes step up. Kyle Palmieri, Miles Wood, and Mackenzie Blackwood is going to stand tall on his head because their defense stinks from the SK, and Lindy Ruff is their new head coach. They'll be a fun watch, but they're not a playoff team. Number 8, the Buffalo Sabres. What a surprise. The Jack Eichel and Taylor Hall experiment is going to be a downright disaster from the beginning, and we simply all know it. And this Buffalo Sabres franchise is absolutely horribly run, and there's no sense of hope for them for the future. They have no goaltending. I mean, there's going to be a fire sale either at some point this year or after the season. Now moving on to the Southern Division. Number 1, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Why am I shocked that they're number 1? Oh, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, the RP Arkansas of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I'm just going to say this. Him being out is going to be a big-time problem. but you're still going to have Braden Point, Cedric Paquette, Yanni Gord, Victor Hedman, and Ryan McDonough. This team is just simply loaded. Whether it repeats to them going back-to-back for the first time since 2017-20, as the 2016-2017 Pittsburgh Penguins did, remains to be seen for another day. And John Cooper deserves all the credit in the world for having the Tampa Bay Lightning pulling basically a University of Virginia story. Number 2 in that division, the Dallas Stars, which is going to make some matchups very interesting against the Tampa Bay Lightning this year. Jamie Benn, Ben Bishop, Tyler Seguin, who had a hip injury, disappeared in the playoffs, but I know he's a better player than that. Dennis Gurianov, Miro Heiskanen. Want to talk about one of the top 5 blue liners in the entire NHL? Miro Heiskanen, a potential finalist one day for the Norris Trophy. Maybe it's this year, but he is something else and could have won the Conn Smythe last year had Dallas won the Cup. But they're still looking for that first title since 1999. And they're going to be a fun watch. Number 3, the Carolina Hurricanes. Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, and Teuvo Teravainen is going to be one of the most fun lines. First lines to watch in the entire NHL this year. The Carolina Hurricanes, this is a dark horse to the Stanley Cup final because of the division they're in, and they don't have to deal with the Metropolitan teams. Number 4, the Columbus Blue Jackets. They got extremely lucky they got out of Metropolitan. Another team that's going to benefit because they are good, they are talented enough in this division to make the playoffs, and another team that can make a dark horse run. You take care of Pierre-Luc Dubois, John Tortorella's the head coach, Jonas Korpisalo, and Alvin Smers-Lankins. It's going to be a battle and duel between the pipes. Seth Jones, Zach Werenski. I'm looking forward to that defensive combination throughout the year. Number 5, the Nashville Predators. They're going to be fine because the rest of the 6, 7, 8 teams stink from the S to the K. Nashville has no goal scoring. Pekka Rinne's past his prime. We don't know if UC Saros is the answer in net for Nashville in the future. That is the reason why they drafted Yaroslav Askarov in the NHL draft, who just got done playing World Juniors for Russia. Now he's got a bright future. It's going to be maybe sooner rather than later he plays for Nashville. Number 6, the Florida Panthers. Jonathan Huberdeau, one of the most underrated players in the NHL, so is Alexander Barkov. But Joel Quenneville does not have the horses. And Sergei Bobrovsky needs to return to form. Or they'll maybe have to use Spencer Knight, who is a brick wall for USA in World Juniors. Number 7, Detroit Red Wings. A rebuilding team. General manager Steve Yzerman is trying to build that team from the ground up. One of the best prospect pools in the entire NHL. And I'm telling you, keep an eye on Detroit, not next year, but the year after. Number 8, the Chicago Blackhawks. No Jonathan Toews, a rebuilding team. Patrick Kane, Alex DeBrincat, Dominique Kubulak. That's all they got. Everything else is just and they have no Kirby Dach. That's basically gonna kill and hurt them. It's gonna kill and hurt them. I'm telling you right now. The Chicago Blackhawks might actually be in the running for the number 1 pick. But that actually wouldn't kill and hurt them. The Canadian division, we the North. Number 1, the Vancouver Canucks. I was impressed by them in the bubble, and I think it's going to continue. Thatcher Demko and Braden Holtby between the pipes, Bo Horvat the captain, Brock Bastian, Elias Pettersson, and Quinn Hughes. And I think he's maybe the best young defenseman in the NHL we have right now, other than Cale Makar, the Colorado Avalanche, and Miro Heiskanen of the Dallas Stars. And do you want to know something? The Philadelphia Flyers passed on all 3 of these guys for Nolan Patrick. Sorry I had to remind you, Philadelphia, but it's also true. And Travis Green has changed the culture in Vancouver. They are trending upwards every single year. Number 2, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I like what General Manager Kyle Dubas did. You bring in some veterans like Joe Thornton and Wayne Simmons, alongside Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and Mitchell Marner. And you get rid of Kasperi Kapanen. But you keep Zach Hyman and Andreas Janssen. And Frederik Andersen. We'll see if he's the goalie of the future. He's on the final year of his contract. But the defense might be not very good. Number 3, the Calgary Flames. They adjust their goalie, Jakob Markstrom. Upgrade at goalie, Jakob Markstrom, and then David Rittich is the backup. Cam Talbot, was not the answer for Calgary. And then Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, and Sean Monahan. Calgary's always a fun team to watch. See, Calgary's the team, like I always pick every year to make the playoffs, but to never make the Stanley Cup. They're like one of those teams I'll consistently bet on, but I don't bet because it's like, oh, Calgary, yeah, they're a good team. Look at their roster. You know they're good enough to make the playoffs, but they're never good enough to win the Stanley Cup. They're like the Cincinnati Bengals in the NHL. But the difference is Flames have won some playoff series lately. Then the Bengals have playoff games. But that's going to be, if they go on a deep run, it's going to be because of Jakob Markstrom. Number 4, the Edmonton Oilers. What else and why else? Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but the depth players better step up, and so better goaltending under Dave Tippett. Number 5, Winnipeg Jets. I think they're a good team. I just think they're getting a raw deal because of how loaded the Canadian division actually is. Patrick Laine, Blake Wheeler, Mark Scheifele, and Niels Pionk on defense. And I'm telling you, Connor Hellebuck is going to be standing on his head a lot this year. They no longer have Dustin Byfuglien, but Jacob Morrissey is a very underrated defenseman for Winnipeg, but I would not be surprised if I saw him in the playoffs. Number 6, the Montreal Canadiens. It was a good field story in making the playoffs last year, Stanley Cup qualifiers. You beat Pittsburgh in 4, but lose to Philadelphia in 6. So maybe they'll build off success of that. Why Carey Price? And we will see what happens. Number 7, the Ottawa Senators. Very young team. Tim Stutzel, Brady Tkachuk on the way up. Matt Murray's the new goalie. Traded from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now the West Division. Number 1, the Colorado Avalanche. Gee Louie, why am I shocked? Oh yeah. Not Connor McDavid. Nathan McKinnon may be, other than Connor McDavid, the best NHL player this year, the RPR of the Colorado Avalanche. And I personally think he's going to be something else because he was going to break Wayne Gretzky's records in the playoffs. Number 2, the Vegas Golden Knights. Alex Pietrangelo probably become their team captain. Marc-Andre Fleury is still the goalie with Robin Leonard there. And then Max Pacioretty, Nate Schmidt, Jonathan Marchessault, Colin Miller. That team is just loaded, very loaded. And I'm going to say this. William Karlsson's going to be their X factor. Number 3, the St. Louis Blues. I think they struggle to score, but because of Jordan Binnington and signing Torrey Krug will be enough for Craig Berube's bunch. Number 4, the Los Angeles Kings. I think with Quinton Byfield and Todd McClellan being the head coach and very young, with Calvin Peterson maybe taking over for Jonathan Quick in net. And keep an eye on Alex Turchette. And he's going to be a very good player who just won a gold for USA. And keep an eye on them this year. Number 5. The Minnesota Wild. And a rebuilding team by Billy Guerin. They'll be competitive but not make the playoffs. Number 6, Anaheim Ducks. Another team that's rebuilding. Trevor Zegras. Also played for Team USA is on Anaheim. In their farm system. So Zegras, whether he plays this year or not, Anaheim is still rebuilding with with Steele and Terry. Number 70, Arizona Coyotes. They don't have any rebuilding. They lost Taylor Hall. They don't have any scoring other than Phil Kessel. And they'll have goaltending like Darcy Cummard and Aiden Hill that will keep them in games. And number 8, the San Jose Sharks. Other than Logan Couture, there's really nothing attractive about the San Jose Sharks. But before I get into my playoff predictions here, use promo code 12Ounce Sports, all caps, deposit bonus up to $1,000 for my bookie. This is the first of 3. We are live on 12Ounce Sports and on Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. I would like to thank Cody Jensen, JB Beck, and whoever else makes this show and other shows wonderful. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. Also, we are growing with viewers, followers, and listeners. Please give us a follow on our Facebook page, Instagram page, and Twitter page. Now let me get into my playoff rounds. Round number 1. Pittsburgh over New York Islanders. Washington Capitals over Philadelphia Flyers. Tampa Bay over Columbus. Carolina over Dallas. Vancouver over Edmonton. Toronto, Calgary. I said Toronto over Calgary, but it'd probably have Calgary over Toronto. Colorado over Los Angeles. And Vegas over St. Louis. Round number 2. Pittsburgh Penguins over Washington Capitals. Carolina Hurricanes over Tampa Bay Lightning. Vancouver Canucks over Calgary Flames. And Colorado Avalanche over Vegas Golden Knights. Round 3. Pittsburgh Penguins over Carolina Hurricanes. And Colorado Avalanche over Vancouver Canucks. Ladies and gentlemen, before I tell you who I picked to win the Stanley Cup, I just want you to know that last year on this show, before my NHL preview, that I picked the Tampa Bay Lightning to win the Stanley Cup over the Colorado Avalanche, and I was simply right that I got the Stanley Cup winner correct. So, I'm just telling you, I got last year's winner correct. So this year, in round 4 of the Stanley Cup Final, the Colorado Avalanche, for the first time since 2001, will win the Stanley Cup this year over the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 or 7 games. That's what I think is going to happen. And if for some strange, odd reason that the Colorado Avalanche win the Stanley Cup this year, Beck and Cody and whoever else, I hope you all are listening, or whoever makes bets or whatever, I should make the joke of show me the money bets, but I'm really not going to do that. So, here are my top 10 NHL teams entering the 2020-2021 season. Number 10, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Number 9, the Carolina Hurricanes. Number 8, the Dallas Stars. Number 7, the St. Louis Blues. Number 6, the Vegas Golden Knights. Number 5, the Washington Capitals. Number 4, the Philadelphia Flyers. Number 3, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Number 2, the Vancouver Canucks. And number 1, the Colorado Avalanche. So here are my awards for the 2020-21 season. My NHL Hart Trophy MVP winner will be Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche. The NHL Vezina Trophy winner will be Carey Price, Montreal Canadiens. The Hart Bjarnason of the Montreal Canadiens, and I think he's going to be in close with Carter Hart and some other players as well this year. NHL Calder Trophy. Keep an eye on this name. Bowen Bryam of the Colorado Avalanche. Kelvin Carr won that award last year. The Colorado Avalanche, and this is why I picked them to win the Stanley Cup. They are going to be dangerous. And I know you got Alexis Lafreniere of New York and Quentin Byfield of Los Angeles Kings. And you also got Tim Stutzel of the Ottawa Senators. This is the man to keep an eye on. NHL Art Ross Trophy. Nathan MacKinnon, Colorado Avalanche. NHL Rocket Richard Trophy. Austin Matthews, Toronto Maple Leafs / Alex Ovechkin, Washington Capitals. NHL Norris Trophy. Best Defenseman, Quint Hughes, Vancouver Canucks. NHL Jack Adams Award, Mike Sullivan, Pittsburgh Penguins. So, use promo code 12Ounce Sports, All caps with deposit bonus up to $1,000. We are live on 12 Out Sports. And finally, here we go. NFL Wild Card Weekend Preview. My record this past week was 12-4 to conclude the regular season. My record to finish the regular season was 167, 89-1. I can't believe the 256-game regular season is over, and I also can't believe the NFL regular season is officially over and the playoffs are finally here. The playoff format is obviously different this season. Instead of two teams getting a first-round bye in the AFC and the NFC, the number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs had the lone bye in the AFC, and the number 1 seed, the Green Bay Packers, had the lone bye in the NFC. Who's ready for Super Wild Card Weekend? And ladies and gentlemen, let's actually see what happens. Let's start in the AFC. Number 7 seed Indianapolis Colts versus number 2 seed Buffalo Bills. This game is going to be a lot closer than people think and anticipate. I saw the line was -6.5. So, here's what I find interesting. I personally think that is a tough bet, because I think Indy's going to keep it close, but I'm afraid Buffalo's going to pull away in the fourth quarter. However, Indianapolis will run the football with Jonathan Taylor and will look to keep Josh Allen, the dangerous Buffalo offense, on the sideline. Frank Reich will be prepared and ready to go and try and outcoach Sean McDermott. Reich was once a player once before for the Bills, down 35-3 as the backup quarterback against the Houston Oilers, and they came back to win that game. However, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, and Cole Beasley are going to be a major difference for the Bills' offense compared to Zach Pascal, T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell, and Michael Pittman Jr. for Indianapolis at wide receiver. And the line of scrimmage is obviously going to dictate this game. And I'm telling you something right now. The line of scrimmage will dictate this game. So, with Quentin Nelson and DeForest Buckner and Ed Oliver in the Bills' defensive line, the Indianapolis Colts will put an upset scare in the Buffalo Bills for a while. However, the Bills can't afford to be upset at home with the fans in attendance, so the Buffalo Bills will take down the Indianapolis Colts by a final score of 26-21. Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 6-3 matchup. The Cleveland Browns barely got in and will face the Pittsburgh Steelers once again for the second consecutive week. Pittsburgh is well rested with Ben Roethlisberger, TJ Watt, and Cameron Hayward. Cleveland will be without head coach Kevin Stefanski and offensive lineman Joel Benito, one of the all-pro guards, due to the coronavirus. And that is a major blow to the Cleveland Browns. Only the Cleveland Browns. You get rewarded to go to the playoffs for the first time since 2002, and this is what happens. Only the Cleveland Browns. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, Beck. I know how much you love the Cleveland Browns. Actually, sorry about that. Sorry that you actually have to deal with that. With the Cleveland Browns. I mean, that actually is very bad. And I know how much Cleveland Brown fans have actually been waiting for this moment. So I kind of take that joke a little thing back. So, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt will look to dictate terms. They will, because Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt will look to dictate terms. But Ben Roethlisberger, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and James Washington will be the key in the aerial attack for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward need to interrupt plays for the Cleveland Browns, but they won't. The Steelers could potentially blow out the Browns this weekend, and these teams split during the weekend. The Pittsburgh Steelers will take down the Cleveland Browns easily, by a final score of 40-14. Number 5 seed, the Baltimore Ravens, versus the number 4 seed, the Tennessee Titans. This is the marquee matchup and the hot fire matchup of the weekend, the AFC wildcard round, the Super Wildcard round on the weekend. Personally, this might be the best matchup on the weekend. Lamar Jackson is under the most pressure and has been downright garbage in the playoffs in his 2 career playoff starts, but he's staying the course. He's being humble. He's taking it one day at a time. I think there's been media guys that have been putting him under the pressure, but there really hasn't been. I personally think, yeah, quarterback-wise, Lamar Jackson is under the most pressure. The team that's actually under the most pressure this weekend, believe it or not, and you probably think I'm crazy, is actually the Buffalo Bills. I think they're under the most pressure this weekend more than the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens are on the road, and I know the Lamar Jackson narrative's going to be flying around, and I understand all that. And we know what quarterback Marlon Humphrey said last year, that they're DNA playoff chokers, and let's see if they're actually right. If he's actually right, or if they actually prove themselves that they changed for the better. What I happen to find funny, I said this in my group chat yesterday, 12 About Sports, I keep replying to Marlon Humphrey's tweets, the cornerback of the Baltimore Ravens. I just pray one of these days, he's just going to happen to respond to one of my tweets, and it obviously hasn't happened just yet. One day, my friends, one day, he will maybe respond to my tweets. Who in the high sea knows? But him versus A.J. Brown is going to be a very interesting wide receiver and cornerback matchup. I am looking forward to those two going at it. Humphrey's going to get the better of him at the time. A.J. Brown's going to get the better of him at the time. It's going to be fun no matter how you look at it. If it's not fun, then I don't know what fun is to you. So, and the X factor in this game, Corey Davis against Marcus Peters. And if Corey Davis wins that matchup, say goodnight to the Ravens, because they never shut down Derrick Henry, and they better watch out for the read option by Ryan Tannehill. And if they fall for it, oopsies, they're in trouble. But J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards for Baltimore will look to keep Tennessee on the sideline. And Derrick Henry's that 2,000K monster, and he's an absolute beast. So, John Harbaugh and Mike Vrabel will look to feed off each other in this game once again. Chess and checkers. And I'm taking the Tennessee Titans. Will take down the Baltimore Ravens by a final score of 38-35. NFC. Number 7 seed Chicago Bears versus the number 2 seed New Orleans Saints. Another game that people think that is going to be a blowout, but it's going to be close. First of all, this spread is at -10, and I would take that bet easily. First of all, Chicago is they're not going to win the game, but they're going to keep this thing close. And the last time these two teams played, it was Mitch Trubisky versus, not Mitch Trubisky. It was Drew Brees versus Nick Foles in Chicago, and the Saints won in overtime. It was 23-20. So, that was at Soldier Field, Chicago, Illinois. So, it will be Mitchell Trubisky versus Drew Brees this time. And I think the Bears defense led by Khalil Mack and the Saints defense led by Demario Davis will show up. Michael Thomas will be back for the New Orleans Saints offense. Emmanuel Sanders will be another key weapon at wide receiver for New Orleans. They have a better tight end in Jared Cook than Chicago Bears do with Jimmy Graham. Allen Robinson II, Darnell Mooney will be interested to see for Chicago wide receiver. The Bears have David Montgomery in the backfield, and if the Saints don't have Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray due to coronavirus, they will use Ty Montgomery and be just fine. The New Orleans Saints will win this game over the Chicago Bears by a final score of 23-20. The number 6 seed, the Los Angeles Rams, versus the number 3 seed, Seattle Seahawks. The Los Angeles Rams and Seattle Seahawks will be meeting for the second time in 3 weeks in Seattle, Washington. Los Angeles and Seattle split meetings during the regular season. It is unknown if Jared Goff or John Wolford will start for the Rams this weekend at quarterback. Russell Wilson will be quarterbacking for Seattle this weekend. Obviously, in case something catastrophically happened, Geno Smith will be the starter. So, the Seahawks offense is in downward spiral. This is going to be a defensive battle and ugly football game. Led by Catalyst Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey for the Rams, and Jamal Adams and Carlos Dunlap for Seattle. The Los Angeles Rams will take down the Seattle Seahawks by a final score of 13-10. Number 5 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus number 4 seed the Washington Football Team. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington Football Team will be an interesting battle. Tom Brady will not have a clean pocket for Tampa Bay because Chase Young of Washington will hit and keep pounding him all football game long. Mike Evans, wide receiver for Tampa Bay, may play in this game. He hyperextended his knee last week, but keep an eye on Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski. And as for Washington, it's Terry McLaurin. You also got Steven Sims and Gam Sims. But Don Shulaman's underrated, and also keep an eye for Tampa Bay, Scotty Miller. And Logan Thomas for, the Washington Football Team is going to be a very interesting key point. And keep an eye on Cameron Brate for the Buccaneers. Bruce Arians and Ron Rivera will be meeting in the playoffs once again as head coaches, and they did it back in 2015 with the Arizona Cardinals and Carolina Panthers. And Bruce Arians showed his respect for Washington by doing this, saying that they are a 4-1 football team. With Alex Smith plays, it's not because and they don't have Dwayne Haskins, so he shows the respect. Which is true because they've won. They have an over 500 record with Smith and an under 500 record without Alex Smith. But obviously, they'll have to worry about some point in the immediate future about drafting a quarterback. So here, I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will take down, the Washington Football Team by a final score of 21-20. So my bold predictions for Wild Card Weekend. Number 1, Jonathan Taylor rushes for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Indianapolis Colts also. Number 2, Chase Young sacks Tom Brady 1.5 to 2.5 times. Number 3, the Cleveland Browns don't reach the end zone once against the Pittsburgh Steelers also. Number 4, Jared Goff or John Wolford will outplay Russell Wilson. And number 5, Mitchell Trubisky outplays Drew Brees. So, let me get in my top 10 NFL teams here entering Wild Card Weekend quickly here before I get in my top 10 Super Bowl matchups that I want to see. Number 10, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Got Tom Brady and Bruce Arians running the ship. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, and they have a solid defense. Number 9, the Indianapolis Colts. This is Phillip Rivers' last run. Frank Reich wants to maybe pull off an upset to maybe win the Super Bowl for the first time ever as a 7th seed. Number 8, the Los Angeles Rams. That defense is legit. They may have to carry them for a playoff win or 2. And that might happen as long as Jared Goff or John Wolford don't kill them. Number 7, the Tennessee Titans. Got one of the most electrifying offenses in the entire NFL playoffs. Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Derrick Henry. Also keep an eye on Khalif Raymond, Jonnu Smith, Anthony Frisker, Michael Pruitt, Jeff Swain. They got a deep tight end group, and that offensive line is very good and play physical. Maybe the defense will turn it up. Number 6, and that's for Mike Vrabel's bunch. Number 6, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger and that wide receiving core is going to be very dangerous. TJ Watt is a downright beast for the Pittsburgh defense, and so is Cameron Hayward. Number 5, the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll are in this once again. The Seattle Seahawks, I know I had the Seahawks higher than the Rams, even though I picked the Rams to win this weekend, but that's because I guess Seahawks won the division. Number 4, the New Orleans Saints. Very balanced on offense and defense. I think they're a legitimate case to get to the Super Bowl. We'll see what happens with Drew Brees. They're going to try and win the Super Bowl for him. I personally think this is their last shot. So who knows? Number 3. And this could be Sean Payton's retirement as well, maybe. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. Number 3. The Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, and a good enough defense. Is there anything else for me to say about Green Bay? No. The Green Bay Packers are legitimate enough to get to the Super Bowl. Jari Alexander is maybe the top cornerback in the entire NFL. Jari Alexander, I mean, there's not enough respect on his name. I mean, he's one of the best corners in the entire NFL. I don't know why they don't talk about it. Maybe Green Bay, it's all about the flash and glitz and glamour. The paparazzi by Aaron Rodgers and that Packers team. I mean, Matt LaFleur, he's won 13-3, 13-3 his first 2 years. You can't tell me you can't do any better than 26-6. You can't. You're going to tell me you do better? Bill Belichick. That's better than Belichick. Or even Sean McVay in his first 2 years. Now, I'm not trying to say that Matt LaFleur is going to be a better coach than Bill Belichick. Else, where you have your where you got a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. And I'm telling you, all that paparazzi for the paparazzi for the Green Bay Packers, that's what it's all about. Number 2, Buffalo Bills. That's where the paparazzi is for Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. I think they're under the most pressure this wild card weekend. With Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Sean McDermott, amongst other things. And a good enough defense, we got to see if they can actually stop the run or actually run the ball. Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs with a shock. Probably the overwhelming favorites to win the Super Bowl again. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman Jr., Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell, the list goes on and on. You got Tyrann Mathieu and Chris Jones on defense, and Frank Clark, and Juan Thornhill, and Rashad Breeland, and Dee Ford. That team's just very good. And Anthony Hitchens is also on that team, and so is Daniel Sorensen on defense. Joe, once again, just to recap, number 10, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, number 9, Indianapolis Colts, number 8, Los Angeles Rams, number 7, Tennessee Titans, number 6, Pittsburgh Steelers, number 5, Seattle Seahawks, number 4, New Orleans Saints, number 3, Green Bay Packers, number 2, Buffalo Bills, number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. My last segment for today is the top 10 Super Bowls I want to see. Here we go. Number 10, Kansas City versus Washington. Why do I want to see that matchup? Patrick Mahomes versus Alex Smith. Smith was traded by Kansas City. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Washington football team would be a very, very interesting matchup. Number 9, Kansas City versus Tampa Bay. So, why this matchup? Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady. Number 8, the Tennessee Titans versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Why? Because Mike Vrabel against Tom Brady, and what Vrabel did against Belichick in that wildcard game last year, and Vrabel knows Brady's weaknesses and probably would exploit them. And I know their secondary stinks, but there'll be obviously game plans. He knows how to game plan. It's just a matter of execution. Number 7, the Buffalo Bills versus the Green Bay Packers. You have Josh Allen, the probably the most polarizing quarterback in this entire playoffs, versus Aaron Rodgers. It would be the young versus the new. Number 6, the Buffalo Bills versus the New Orleans Saints. Josh Allen and Buffalo, Sean McDermott, the former Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator who knows a thing or two about the Saints, against Drew Brees, Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara, and Michael Thomas, I think will be a very interesting game. With Bills Mafia and the Saints, Mardi Gras, that party-style Super Bowl, are you kidding me? There'd be no party like tomorrow. Hey, everyone, let's hop on a plane, except I can't fly. Yeah, I know a couple of friends that flew today. Yeah. Number 5, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Washington football team. Why this matchup? Oh, the Battle of the Beltway. Knowing how much Baltimore and Washington don't like each other, Lamar Jackson versus Alex Smith, that thing will be hyped in as Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and you also in Southern Virginia, Washington, D.C., Southern Maryland, Northern Maryland, Delaware, Southern Pennsylvania, wherever those fans are. I'm just saying, that would be hyped up in this area like no tomorrow. Number 4, Tennessee Titans versus Seattle Seahawks. You have the Seahawks who can't stop the run, Titans can't stop the pass. Russell Wilson, Ryan Tannehill. Number 3, Kansas City versus New Orleans, Mahomes versus Brees. Number 2, Kansas City versus Green Bay, Mahomes versus Rodgers. And number 1, Super Bowl I want to see, Tennessee versus New Orleans, old schooled because of Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara, Ryan Tannehill, and Drew Brees. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of time here. Thanks for tuning in, Glenn's Dynamic Sports. Going to help you all enjoy the rest of the day and your weekend as well here. I will be back on here at the same time Monday, wildcard weekend, NHL coaching, hirings, firings, update, NBA game recaps, NHL opening night, and use promo code SoldOutSports, all caps, buys a bonus up to $1,000 from my bookie.
Are you ready for the King of the Ice? Pete's Power Plays with Philly Pete starts now on 12 Ounce Sports.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Thursday, January 7th, 2021 episode of Pete's Power Plays, hosted by the one, the only King of the Ice himself, Philly Pete, and we're live on 12 Ounce Sports and Zingo TV, channel 761. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning, Thursday night, wherever you may be across the globe as we speak today. This show, Pete's Power Plays, is sponsored by the one, the only MyBookie.ag. Sports are here, ladies and gentlemen, and what better way to start cashing out large than MyBookie.ag. Create an account, use the promo code 12Ounce Sports. It's 12OZ Sports, all caps, no spaces. Once again, MyBookie.ag. Use the promo code 12Ounce Sports, 12OZ Sports, all caps, no spaces. And like I said, we're back. We're back in reality. Hockey starts in 6 days. I cannot wait. Ready to rock and roll. And listen, they'll match your first deposit up to $1,000. Always remember to gamble responsibly. Also, Zingo TV, channel 761. That's Z-I-N-G-O. That's Zingo TV, channel 761. Those that are tuning in, welcome aboard to today's episode of my show. Those that don't have Zingo TV, I highly, highly recommend that you get it. It is a free app. Everybody loves free stuff nowadays. Search up Zingo TV on your streaming device that you have, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, Google Chromecast, whatever it may be. Download it today. Tune in to channel 761 right now. And last but not least, Amazon.com. We have a website out. Use this when you are purchasing anything, whether it's anniversaries, miscellaneous, birthdays, whatever it may be. Go to www.12ouncesportsradio.com/Amazon. Once again, www.12ouncesportsradio.com/Amazon. So I'm back. Last show for the week, I know, but I will be back as always Tuesday through Thursday of each week, 12 to 12:30 Eastern Time, 9 to 9:30 a.m. out west. And I'm going to talk a lot about fantasy hockey today. I know most of you, if you didn't have your leagues yet, here it goes. I'm the right guy to talk to you guys about this. So I'm going to talk about my NHL fantasy hockey rankings, and I want to go by each position. So I'm going to give you top 10 on each position here, with center, forwards, goaltending, defense, whatever it may be, I have it for you right here, locked and loaded. Also, I want to go through each NHL division, updated odds, some movements over the past couple weeks. I believe I talked about this maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago on my show, but some little bit drastic changes in terms of division odds. And last but not least, the NFL playoffs are here. And again, what better way to start cashing out your DFS than cashing out with Philly Pete and my DFS plays for FanDuel and DraftKings. So I will be giving out a FanDuel lineup, like always, for the NFL playoffs on Saturday and then one for Sunday. So look out for 2 separate daily fantasy football lineups, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. All right, it's going to be fun. I can't wait. The last free client lineup cashed out pretty large for everybody that hopped on board with it. So let's do it again and let's start cashing out. So I will give you guys and ladies my NFL player locks for this weekend. And honestly, the locks that I have are for the first game for the Colts and the Bills. That game right there has over written all over it. And I just think the Bills are just on fire right now when it comes to playing football. And I love these Bills. They are fun to watch. Bills Mafia that are tuning in. I know there's a bunch of you out there. And of course, the over 52, I believe, is what I am seeing right here as well and what I like. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. So, but without further ado, let's get into the fantasy hockey real quick. All right, I want to give you all my top 10 for each position. Those that don't have their fantasy, those that didn't do their fantasy league yet, this is probably important for you all out there to pay attention, listen up, and see where Philly Pete's going with his fantasy hockey. I'm also in the works of possibly doing fantasy hockey, daily fantasy football lineups. See what happens there. So like I said, I have a lot going on with 12-ounce sports. And like I said, next week I will be doing full video for opening night in the NHL. So next Wednesday's show, you'll see this lovely face that everyone's wondering who is behind the curtain for Philly Pete, and I will reveal who I truly am. So there you have it. So top 10 centers for fantasy hockey, starting off with number 10 here. And you know what? This player right here has done a lot. He did a lot during the Cup run with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I truly think that he's on pace here for another good season, especially with Kucherov being hurt. He's going to have to step right in and take care of some business in hopes that Stamkos is ready to rock and roll. And that's Braden Point. He had a great season last year. I like what he's been doing for this Tampa squad. He had a great postseason run. He definitely cracks my top 10. So at number 10, I have Braden Point from the Tampa Bay Lightning. At number 9, I have Mika Zibanejad of the New York Rangers. I really think that, the way that this team's going to be this year, and he is healthy. He's going to be ready to rock and roll for season opener. And again, you have Lafreniere as well and Panarin. And I really think that with Zibanejad healthy as well, I really think that this Rangers team could be dangerous. So just look out for him. I like what I see in him as well. But at number 9, I have Mika Zibanejad from the New York Rangers. At number 8, I have Elias Pettersson, Vancouver Canucks center. Young, talented player. We saw what he did in the postseason as well, taking the Canucks to the Western Conference Finals against the Dallas Stars, which they eventually lost. But there is something special about this young group and this young core. I know they lost to Foley, but Pettersson, it is his time to shine this season. And that's why he's a couple notches up. I was flip-flopping between Braden Point and Pettersson for this spot here. But honestly, Pettersson to me, I just think he's a young, talented dude. He's got a lot to give for this Canucks team. And at number 8, I have Elias Pettersson. At number 7, I have Sidney Crosby. Well, we know who the kid is. He's getting up there in age, but I think he still has a lot to contribute to this Penguins offense, and let alone given a chance to maybe redeem themselves after getting shellacked by the Montreal Canadiens in the first round of the postseason first round last season in the bubble that we had. But Crosby still has a lot to give. I know his time is eventually winding down, but he can't give up on him nor the Penguins. But this is why I have Sidney Crosby up here at number 7, because I really do think that he has a really good season as well. And of course, with the healthy Malkin, you can expect that 1-2 combo to be back on full force this upcoming season. So at number 7, I have Sidney Crosby. At number 6, I have Jack Eichel. He barely missed my top 5. I really think that this player right here has something to give, and he's a lot to show. Especially you got Eric Stahl as another addition, and of course the big addition to this Buffalo team is Taylor Hall. It's going to help Jack Eichel in points this season. I really expect a nice bounce back for Eichel, and like I said, he just missed my top 5 by this much. But at number 6, I like Jack Eichel. I really think that he's going to prove time and time out why he is the key component to the Buffalo Sabres this year. And with the additions of Stahl and Taylor Hall, I really think that he has a lot to give for this squad. So at number 6, I have Jack Eichel. Number 5, my top 5, Sebastian Aho, the Carolina Hurricanes. I love this team. I really do. They are a pesky, aggressive, young team. They can go far in the postseason. I really like them a lot this season. And all that given to Sebastian Aho. This is a kid that time in, time out will give you everything on the ice. And he is a big contributor to this Hurricanes team as well. So, and he is a point guy. He will get you points when points are made. So at number 5, it is Sebastian Aho. At number 4, I have Austin Matthews. Of course, no brainer here. Getting to my top 4 now. Austin Matthews, number 4 for me. Of course, we know how he is. And I know he battled COVID during the season a little bit. But this team is loaded. And with the help of Joe Thornton, I really think that he can get back up to expectations and be a point machine as well. So at number 4, I have Austin Matthews. Number 3, I have Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers. Led the league in points last season. I expect more of the same, maybe a little bit of a decrease, but still, we're going to be seeing King Leon as he normally does things around the NHL. So at number 3, I have Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers. Number 2, I have Nathan MacKinnon. He is going to be the key component for the Avalanche this season. We know how he was last year. This year, this team is going to be a lot better, and this is the reason why they are a favorite to win the Stanley Cup Final. And at number 1, the one, the only, once again, Connor McDavid. No need to get involved with him. We know how he is. He is another point machine, averaging 1.5 points last season. So you know what you're getting, and most likely the number 1 overall pick in fantasy hockey this season. So at number 1 center for me to round this position off, Connor McDavid. Now let's get into defenders real quick. So at defense here, I'll give you a quick rundown of my top 10. At number 10 here, I have Brent Burns of the San Jose Sharks. Of course, can't go wrong with Burnsy. A great key defensive asset to the San Jose Sharks. I know they are a young team still. They're rebuilding. But he is what keeps this team where they are. And, there's all more of a reason to like this guy. So number 10, I have Brent Burns. Number 9, I have Morgan Riley of the Maple Leafs. Number 8, I have Dougie Hamilton. At number 7, I have Quinn Hughes. I know he dropped a little bit. A lot of people have him up in his top 5 defensemen, but for me, I need to see more out of him, so I have him at number 7. At number 6, I have Roman Josi of the Nashville Predators. Number 5, cracking my top 5, I have Torrey Krug, of course, from the so-called Boston Bruins now on the St. Louis Blues. So at number 5, I have Torrey Krug. Number 4, I have Kel Makar from the Colorado Avalanche. I love this player big time. Another key asset to the defense of the Avalanche this upcoming season. Number 3, I have Alex Pietrangelo, the biggest acquisition off the market this season for the Golden Knights. Number 2, I have Victor Hedman. Can't go wrong with another Cup champion defenseman right there at Hedman. And at number 1 overall, can't go wrong here, John Carlson from the Washington Capitals. He is that aggressor that everyone loves, and you can't go wrong with him. I love John Carlson. He rounds out my overall number 1 pick as a defenseman for fantasy hockey. On that note, I'll be back in a flash. I will talk for the rest of fantasy hockey, and then on to NFL player locks for DFS this upcoming weekend. Stay tight. Be right back.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
At Amazon, we're pretty good at getting things done. We're pretty good at solving problems. COVID-19 is the biggest challenge we've had to face. The challenges are what motivate us. Like flying masks to our employees around the world. We're doing everything we can to get you what you need, and doing everything we can to keep our people safe. I'm former Navy pilot Sarah Rhodes, and I'm proud to lead our Amazon Air network.
And ladies and gentlemen, I am back. Thank you for tuning in to today, January 7th, Thursday, January 7th, 2021 episode of Pete's Power Plays, hosted by the one, the only King of the Ice himself, Philly Pete. And we're live on 12 Ounce Sports and Zingo TV, channel 761. Goalies. Goalies are a big position when it comes to fantasy hockey. I know a lot of people take goalies in the first round. If you have the last pick, you like to double your goaltenders up, which is a big part in fantasy hockey, as we all know. So at number 10, let's start it off here. I want to go with Jacob Markstrom of the Calgary Flames here. Hell of a postseason run that he had. New squad, okay? And I expect more of the same Markstrom here. So at number 10, I have Jacob Markstrom of the Calgary Flames. Number 9, I have Jordan Bennington. I'm hoping for a little bounce back season for him. Number 8, Carey Price. You can't go wrong with him. He is what keeps this team in full check, and I expect he should be ranked a little bit higher, but I want to see how the start of the season goes for the Habs. I know a lot of people are on the Habs train, including myself, at 50-1 to win the Cup. Now I believe they're at 30-1, which is crazy to think. I'll get into that in a little bit. But Carey Price at number 8 for me. I expect a lot for the Montreal Canadiens this year, and all that sets to Carey Price. And this is it. I really think that this is going to be a good Canadian season. So at number 8, I have Carey Price. Number 7, I have Philip Grubauer from the Colorado Avalanche. Again, if it comes down to the Avalanche going to the Stanley Cup and winning a cup, it comes down to their goaltending. So this is a big step. There's a lot of pressure on this Avs team this year to win the cup. They have the best team, obviously, on paper and most talented besides Tampa Bay and Vegas, but honestly, overall, Colorado is by far the best team in the NHL as we speak here. But again, it all comes down to goaltending, and we'll see what happens for this Avalanche team when that does happen. So at number 8 here, or excuse me, at number 7 here, I have Philip Grubauer. At number 6, I have Igor Shesterkin from the New York Rangers. The way I have him at 6, he would have been up 5 for me, but at number 6. I just feel like they're not committed to him. The Rangers should be committed to him. They should. He hasn't been announced as a day one starter. He should be. I like what we've seen, and now that Lundqvist is out for the season for a heart issue, open heart surgery. Prayers for him. But this is Shesterkin's team to lose. Really, it is. It is his job to lose. And I expect a lot, and I know Rangers fans out there are expecting from a lot out of him as well. So at number 6, Igor Shesterkin of the New York Rangers. Number 5, Connor Hellebuck from the Winnipeg Jets. He obviously cracks my top 5. He's a great goaltender. If Winnipeg does somehow have, when it comes to the Winnipeg Jets and for them to get a chance into the playoffs. Again, I don't think they make the playoffs this year. That was one of my side bets this year. I don't think they make the playoffs, but if they do, it's going to rely on their goaltending because they have no defense whatsoever. And time will tell here until he basically goes in and out of playing time, and he just loses it for this team here. But he's a great goaltender. He's what's going to keep the Winnipeg Jets in games this season. So at number 5, I like Connor Hellebuyck from the Winnipeg Jets. At number 4, Tuukka Rask. Okay, what can I say? He is a top 5 goaltender, and he always will be. So at number 4, no questions need to be asked here. I like Tuukka Rask here. At number 3, Carter Hart. What can I say here? From the Philadelphia Flyers, the young stud that he is, having a great season last year, great postseason run. I expect more of the same. And another reason why the Flyers are a top contender for the Cup this year, let alone the division as well. So at number 3, he does crack my top 3. Carter Hart, plenty of years left. We like to see at least 15 years out of you for the upcoming season for the Flyers. So number 3, Carter Hart. Number 2, Robin Lehner from the Vegas Knights. No-brainer here as well. I do love him more than Marc-Andre Fleury. He just has it all. He's quicker, and he's just younger. I mean, I like everything about this goaltender here. And at number 1 overall, of course, the best goaltender in the NHL, Andrei Vasilevskiy of the Tampa Bay Lightning. No need to answer any questions here. He is a top overall goaltender, and there you are. There is your top positions when it comes to fantasy hockey there. And, it's exactly what we like to see. And if you have, I'm going to give a rundown of my wingers real quick. I want to give you my top 5 winger-wise. I have Matthew Tkachuk. I have Jonathan Huberdeau from the Panthers. Brad Marchand, who is expected to play opening night. I have Artemi Panarin, and then last but not least, my number 1 winger, of course, Alex Ovechkin. So there you are for left wingers there. And to finish up the right wingers here, top 5, it was a battle between Patrick Laine and Mark Stone. But again, you gotta go with Patrick Laine here because, again, you don't know how and where he's going to be this year. But I like Patrick Laine at number 5. A quick honorable mention, Mark Stone at number 6, and Brock Bowser as well. But Patrick Laine at number 5. Number 4, I have David Pastrnak. I know he might not make the first couple games here, but he's still a top 5 right winger in my books here. At number 3, I have Mikko Rantanen from Colorado, another stud that, again, this team is going to be unbelievable this year. At number 2, I have Mitch Marner of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and at number 1, of course, the best right winger in hockey, Patrick Kane, and he is going to be dealing with a lot of himself this year. No Crawford, no Jonathan Toews to start the season. He's going to have to do this on his own until Jonathan Toews comes back. So number 1 overall right winger for me, Patrick Kane. So there you go. There you have it for fantasy hockey rankings. And those that have your draft coming up, I expect you to take notes from here. So moving on, NFL DFS player locks. These 3 players to me are just no-brainers. And honestly, looking at the 3 games, the Seattle Rams game, nothing really popped out to me. I expect a low-scoring defensive game. We don't know if Goff's going to play or not, of course. But we will see what happens there. But overall, and then, of course, Tampa and Washington, I'm not really fond of anything. Well, Mike Evans, still, we're not sure if he is going to be playing on Saturday night or not. But it looks like he was practicing, but still a little bit gimpy. So, to me, the Bills-Colts game is going to be the best game on paper for Saturday. And on that note, Josh Allen, of course, should be a player lock on your daily fantasy lineups. Stephon Diggs as well. That is the best 1-2 combo this season so far in the NFL. Allen to Diggs, I like that. And then Jonathan Taylor, the rookie young stud out of Wisconsin. I expect a lot out of him this upcoming game as well. So there you have it. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Jonathan Taylor. Look out for my free lineups out there as well for FanDuel. So like I said, it will be up before game time. There'll be one for Saturday and Sunday. So stay tuned to that. Last but not least, NHL futures. I got about 7 minutes with you guys, so I'll do this as quickly and consistent as possible. NHL Central Division here. Tampa Bay plus 135, the clear-cut favorite to win the division. All right, pretty self-explanatory here. Dallas plus 425 comes in second here. Carolina plus 450. So Dallas and Carolina are about the same here, respectively. Plus 425, plus 450. Then you have the Nashville Predators at plus 750. That the fourth best odds in this division. I'm not really sure about that one. Then you go ahead and you have the Columbus Blue Jackets at plus 900 and Florida plus 900. Then you have Chicago at plus 1,400 and then Detroit at plus 5,000. Now, we know Tampa has a pretty easy run here. If it's any other team here, Carolina and Dallas also could throw a potential threat here as well. And again, my wild card, I said this time and time again, the Columbus Blue Jackets, be on the lookout for them at plus 900. That is not bad of a gig to put a little bit of value in there to win a division. Columbus at 9-1, that's not bad. I know they have a tough division. I know they have, between those three teams that I mentioned, because it's going to be a three-team race, let's be honest here. Tampa Bay should win that division, no problem. But you also have the threats of Carolina and Dallas that is poised to win the division. And then you could look down these teams here and say, oh, you know what, Columbus has a chance here. So if I'm going with a wild card crazy pick here, Columbus at 9-1 is a great value. But honestly, I think Tampa does wrap up this division, and it'll be close. It'll be a close division with Carolina and Dallas in there. But at the end of the day, I do expect these teams to make the playoffs. Simple as that. So the NHL East Division, which is the group of death for me, those that are fond and know all about soccer and groups and the group of death. Honestly, this is what I'm talking about here. This is the group of death. 6 out of the 8 teams are playoff potential squads. And hell, even New Jersey and Buffalo has a chance. These are 8 potential teams to make the playoffs. I hate to say it, but I know Buffalo and Jersey, it's a little bit tough for them. I know maybe in the years to come, they will get their chance. But this, honestly, I have to say, all these teams are potentially postseason teams. Boston plus 280, Flyers plus 350, Pittsburgh plus 450, Washington plus 500, Islanders plus 650, Rangers plus 750, Buffalo and Jersey both at plus 1,600 to win the division. So you could probably throw out Buffalo and New Jersey. I don't think they're going to win the division this year, obviously. But they will be better. Trust me, they will be better. They are young teams ready to rock and roll at some point in the next couple of years. Boston, to me, at plus 280, I think that's too much for them, especially not really having Pasternak in the first maybe week or so. Marchand looks like he's going to be on his way back. But again, you don't have Chara. Charlie McAvoy's going to have to step up for this team. But, Philadelphia plus 350, I like what I'm seeing here. I really do. Nolan Patrick looks really good during this offseason and during practice. Plus 350 looks pretty good for the Flyers. Again, you could take a vouching ticket for any of these teams here and have a shot. This is how deep this division is, and it is the group of death. Now, if I'm looking at some value here, I like the Islanders at plus 650 to win this division. We saw what they did last year. It's only a matter of time until they sign Matthew Barzal as well. I mean, these big, top, talented players will wait to the last minute to sign with their teams. But as of the other day, the Islanders, basically their starting day roster had Barzal in their lineup, so it is a matter of time until they get that signature on that line. So Islanders plus 650 would be my wild card bet here to win the division at plus 650 here. Again, I like the Flyers at plus 350 overall. It's going to be a tough division. It's going to be tough. Like I said, this is the group of death. And I will keep on saying this time and time again. It's tough. All these teams are potential postseason squads. So, and 6 out of the 8 are under plus 1,000 when it comes to odds. So you know that you are in for a good season. So there you have it. The NHL North Division, Toronto at plus 120, Edmonton at plus 450, Montreal at plus 500, Calgary, Vancouver, and Winnipeg plus 700, Ottawa plus 6,000. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, these are all off of William Hill, so you are getting the finest lines out there. Toronto, I think, wins this division at plus 120. I think it's a no-brainer here. But I think, like I said, if there's any chance that something else happens, you got to look at Montreal. Montreal at 5-1 at plus 500. That is a good wild card bet here to win the division. I think this is going to be a team that will threat Toronto, if anything, this upcoming season. And, of course, they play night one of the NHL opening night next Wednesday. And that's why I like Montreal to win at plus 120 on the money line, which, of course, I will talk more in depth about that next week. I like Montreal 5-1. Maybe you could possibly throw in Vancouver at 7-1 as well, but I'm not as confident as I am to Vancouver than I am with Montreal. So my wild card bet here is Montreal at 5-1 to win the division. Of course, Toronto, they are the clear-cut favors. And last but not least, the West Division. You have Colorado plus 160, Vegas plus 180, St. Louis plus 450, Minnesota 12-1, San Jose 13-1, Anaheim plus 3,000, LA plus 4,000, and Arizona, I'm sorry, that should have been earlier, but San Jose and Arizona are plus 1,300 respectively. So San Jose, that I don't know why they're up that high. I think my wild card here would be Minnesota at 12-1. I know it's crazy to think, but this is the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to wild cards, and I really think that Minnesota can creep on people this year. I do. And at 12-1 to win the division, I think it's a good little bet to put in there. So you can look at them. Honestly, this is a 3-team race between Colorado, Vegas, and St. Louis. Honestly, when everything's said and done, it's going to come down to Colorado and Vegas. I think Vegas barely squeaks out this division. They were at 2-1. Now they're at plus 180. So it's getting crazier and crazier in that division. But again, wild card, Minnesota 12-1, and there you have it. And unfortunately, I'm out of time. Hope everyone has a great, great weekend. Be safe. I'll be back Tuesday. And like I said, enjoy yourselves this weekend. I'll see you guys. Bye.